All right, what's going on, guys? So I kind of want to talk about this documentary here, Quiet on Set. Now, people was talking about this on TikTok, and so I ended up like, hey, let me go ahead and watch it. It was 4 episodes, about 45 minutes each, and it really just talked about the dark side and history of children, children television behind sets, man, what the various stars went through in the 90s and early 2000s. Now, Nickelodeon, it's been established since 1977 out of Columbus, Ohio, and its headquarters is in New York, New York. I remember growing up watching like all that, the Amanda Show, Amanda Bynes Show, we get into that, Amanda, Drake and Josh, Sweet Life, they had the Sweet Life, Zach and Cody too, with the Disney. But it was, if you didn't really have cable, it was kind of hard to, keep up with these shows. Like cable was like either watching, besides Cartoon Network, you're gonna be watching Nickelodeon or a Disney Channel. Those were like the two channels to go, far as like a child growing up in the 90s. But Boost was really crazy is that a lot of these like iCarly, a lot of these shows, man, they had a lot of sexual innuendos, man. Most of these shows were produced by Dan Snyder, in that particular time, and it was just kind of sad. It was some stories that they were saying that he hired like pedophiles, you know what I mean, pedophiles, just to work on the show, and a lot of these children were exposed to him. For instance, you have Michael Handy. He was like what, in his late 20s, and he sent a sexual explicit video to a minor on set, man. One of those that was working on set, and just kind of really put them out of line. The industry was really crazy. What really put things into perspective, when you had Drake Bell, he actually testified. He showed his testimony, and Drake Bell, man, he was just saying that he was sodomized by Brian Peck, and these people that worked on the show, and they were actually friends of Dan Snyder in that particular time, and it was really crazy, because I used to always think like, dang, why is these childhood stars, some of these childhood stars having a hard time adjusting and transitioning to the adult life. And you look into a deeper level, a lot of them, what I'm saying, they kind of arrived from their childhood in a way. I mean, they were working since they were little, and at that time they needed some recruitment. They needed some recruitment, some childhood actors to go ahead, inspiring actors. They seem like you're a good fit. You do these auditions, their parents take them, and they love going to the TV. They love to be in part of the performance arts. They get an opportunity. It seemed like it was cool, but at the same time, they had to do a lot of things that was outside their character. And it's some of the parents, they kind of knew what was going on, but then again too, a lot of them didn't want to step up and step into that, because it would create a lot of backlash. So Dan Snyder and all these other producers took advantage of that, man. Now, yes, a lot of them went to prison. I think fast forward to 2018, Dan Snyder couldn't like do anything. I don't think he recently made a show, but I didn't know if he was in producing of all that. Me and my wife watched that, and most of his shows are still up there to this day on these platforms. And he couldn't have no type of affiliation with the actors. And I'm like, man, this just got really, really dark. What was just really crazy is that I think I forgot his name, man, but he went to at a gathering, and he saw like this guy had like a Planet of the Apes type of, I don't know if it was Brian Peck's house or someone. He had a Planet of the Apes type of theme or whatever, and he realized that he had a John Wayne Gacy like clown card, and that was the serial killer. That was the one who actually dressed in a clown suit, was killing a lot of young men and boys, and that was very crazy and strange and creepy. So it's a lot of them, man, was just taken advantage of, man. And my heart goes out for Drake Bell, man. I mean, because I know it was very difficult for him to talk about this, because once something like that tragically happens to you, you don't. Yeah. So you know. His father, was up there too on the HBO documentary, and Drake, I can tell by his mannerisms, he was very uncomfortable just from the start, but he had to get it all out. He was still seeking therapy. I know in the past that I think I made maybe a one or two videos of him. He had a DUI. They say he was hanging out with some elementary school kids, or he got in trouble for texting sending inappropriate messages to a minor, you know, those things. And we don't really know them too much. All we know is like, okay, they were a childhood actor. Why are they acting out? You know, and it was good to hear their story. And I'm glad that this is coming out, man. Even though all this stuff happened in the 90s. His father broke down in tears when his mother allowed him, because they were going through a divorce, his mother allowed him to be with Brian Peck. And Brian Peck, man, he was over his girlfriend's house. And he kept calling him, until his girlfriend's mother had to step in and, you know, start investigating and call the police. But he later got locked up. Amanda Bynes, you know, in the 90s. I remember Amanda Bynes. She was like very popular. I used to love the Amanda Show. I mean, and for a female comedian, not too many female comedians have their own show, let alone a young one. I mean, she literally had her own show. You even have grown female comedians. Yeah, they're going on tour and maybe be in some movies, but they haven't been like having literally their own show, their own season, where it's actually bringing in a lot of ratings. And so the thing is with the Dan Snyder, you know, because he discovered her on The Laugh. You actually would know about that if you watch the documentary. It's just a place, comedy club place. Young kids, people perform there on Sunset. And, you know, he wanted to big her up. You know, he produces. And the thing is about Dan Snyder, he literally produced all of these shows. And it created a lot of money and revenue. So they were kind of hesitant over the years to get rid of him. Now they heard a lot of complaints too from workers. You know, he's saying like, I'm God and all of this. If you don't do these certain things, you don't do these type of sexual innuendos. Like with Ariana Grande when she was young. I mean, these kids was like 12, 11. He in a hot tub, fully clothed with a girl with a bikini. Like, it was just a lot of weird things that kind of went over my head as a kid. And, you know, looking back at it as an adult, you like, man, this is definitely not good. So you should not be partaking in these type of things, man, in these activities. Wish I would have made more episodes, but I think they got the message out for this documentary here. Wow, I can't believe it. I was just like, man, you know, just make you rethink a lot of things. They say it ruins your childhood, but no, man, I'm just glad that the truth is coming out. You know, things that's exposed in darkness will come to the light, you know, so you only can hide this for so long. He denied a lot of these claims, saying that, you know, he talked with executives before he aired things. I remember too, they used to do like the slime, like they still kind of do. That's like their signature. Now, I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon, after all this going out, all this stuff been happening over the years, that they really strict on who they employ, for real. Money's not everything, man. Ratings not everything. If your employees are getting taken advantage of, it's not real. It's not cool. But a lot of people was relieved over the years that he was gone. But even in 2014, he accepted the Kids' Choice Awards, and people was just bigging him up. But you look at Jeanette McCurdy, I might have to get her memoir as well. But she's talking about how happy that her mother died, and then talking about how, you know, the industry was. I think she ran for his Dan Snyder as the creator, and how she was forced into it, and she didn't even show up. So it was good to see from her standpoint from iCarly. I think Miranda Cosgrove, she still have her own show. I think she do like a game show now, I think, primarily as her job. But this was an eye-opening documentary. You know, I'm going ahead and close. I actually advise people to go ahead and take a look, especially if you grew up in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, watching these shows that was super popular back then. Like, yeah, because being a childhood actor it's like the American dream back then. I mean, if you like, oh, you're such and such on that show, you're literally famous. And these kids were famous, man. They didn't really have like a normal childhood, but all the backlash they came through. So I just hope pray that they be able to be okay, overcome this, and seek the Lord and get as much therapy and support that they can, man. You know, but that's all I got to say. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. It's your boy Link Jr. Small thoughts on it. I'm out. Deuces.